Boys and girls, Jim Voss high above my garage, there 10 feet, just to do another edition of Just My Opinion. I don't know which number this is, we're way up there. I've kind of been in a dilemma, you know. I don't, um, I don't understand what the Democrats are doing. If you're in a battle and you're losing, you try to flank your enemy and come in unexpectedly. If you're flying, you try to come in from out of the sun so they can't see you and come down on them. You lose, I guess you lose a certain amount of credibility when you just tell your people, run out there and shoot like hell. Or fly at them straight on and just take them nose to nose and see if you can get them down. You've got to use some kind of tactics that are either overt, covert, unexpected, or expected, but you want to do it in a manner that makes some kind of common sense. The Democrats are trying to take the efforts of Trump down by using the most asinine and backwards type of tactics that I've ever heard of. And I think most politicians, and I'm not a politician, may stroke of the imagination, too damn incorrect politically, you know. Why would you support? Okay, this is like you're in the battle, you're losing. So let's send everybody out there, get the point man, then you get all your troops out there, and everybody set up your limiting stakes. You know, you can only fire so far left, so far right. Everybody gets a good sight picture, you know, and they have no bullets. That doesn't make any sense. Then why would the Democrat Party support the idiot AOC? I mean, it's like you're going to send Elmo to negotiate with Xi in China. It doesn't make any sense. She could not negotiate a new bathroom for the worst bar in the world. Of course, she used to be a bartender, maybe she could. I don't know. I don't understand. Normally, I can understand politics, as bizarre as it is, because my mind is kind of like that. It's kind of like bizarre. But just think about it for a minute. If Trump comes up with Plan A, and we're going to use money from here and money from here, and the Congress is going to give us a third set of money, then what do the Democrats supposedly come up with? They come up with, well, let's take some money from here, and then the Congress gives us X amount of dollars from here, and ours is a better plan. Okay, we got 3 reasons over here to prove this. We got 3 reasons over here that are against this, but it's not a bad plan. It's a fair plan. But Trump comes up with a 3-tier plan that's going to raise unemployment, bring in jobs, and give a tax cut on top of all that. What do the Democrats do? We want to support the illegal aliens. We want to bring back the ones that you've already deported, and we want you to leave the illegal aliens alone in the United States that already have criminal records. How the hell do you balance that out? How do you, any sane person, how do you explain it to them that this is the best deal? Let's keep the murderers and rapists and robbers here and not put people back to work and not bring down unemployment and not get a tax cut. I mean, who are you going to sell this to? You're going to sell it to thugs and more criminals and more illegal aliens. You might sell it to them. But the people who have any kind of common sense whatsoever are just going to look at the Democrats and go, where'd you get that idea? Fools are us? I don't know. It seems like the Democrats are saying, okay, this is Disney World, but we would rather go with Never Never Land than Disney World. How about that? And we'll dig up Michael and let him run around with his fentanyl. I don't know who the Democrat Party's talking to. Now, we talked about it in another podcast, that the base of the Democrat Party is the old guard. I mean, that's the foundation. Been there since Christ was a corporal. He's a full-bird colonel now. So, they're not buying this. They're looking at, well, I've been here 35 years. Maybe I should go ahead and jump ship and retire and leave this idiocy to the clowns and the three-top circus and the big ring. I don't know. But I think that's what's getting ready to happen. I think there's going to be a plethora of people who say, after 40 years, I want to spend time with my grandkids and play t-ball and all this other good crap. And so I'm going to retire. They're going to, what you have is a pack of rats deserting a sinking ship. Not only is the vessel for the Democrat Party in stagnating waters, that bad boy's taking on water like you wouldn't believe. And it's listing severely to one side. I would say to the left. I'm not a Navy man, so I don't know which is left and which is right. And I know what forward and aft is, but I don't know. That's the front and the ass end, but I don't know what the left and right is. It's G and haw if you're a country boy. But that's what a mule. That is the Democrat sign, that is the mule. Okay. The old guard is not buying this crap. They are just, if you'll pardon the pun, Biden time. I like that. Biding time. Until they can just pull their golden parachute and bail out. Because this bad boy is on fire. The props have quit turning. The turbines have quit spinning. And they're taking a nosedive right into a big old bucket of buffalo chips. And they're not going to do that. They're not going to end their careers in a blaze of glory that goes down in a cesspool. Not going to do it. They've lied and they've cheated and they've boogie boarded through their entire 40 years. And they've sold igloos to Eskimos and air conditioners also. But they're so dirty they're going to screw them into the ground when they die. But they will not go down with a tainted reputation of AOC and her crew and all these other idiots that have joined the Democrat Party. The Democrats of today are grossly, and I'll use that word carefully, grossly different than the Democrats of yesterday. The Democrats of yesterday was, we'll spend your money, not wisely, but we won't tell you about it, we won't brag about it, and we won't be out here renting stadiums and going to this place, Aruba and the Virgin Islands, and partying and running up a $50,000 liquor bill. No. Covertly, they'll fly to France, they'll fly to New England, they'll fly to Florida, they'll fly wherever on fact-finding missions, trade missions, whatever, exchange missions. But there, it was quietly spending your money, wasting your taxpayers' dollars. Not this crew. The new Democrats are, let's go out here and boogie, oogie, oogie, till we can't boogie no more. Let's drink it up, party it up. Let's spend all the taxpayers' money. Buy me a new house, buy me a new car, give my relative $1 million, da 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 da, and I don't care who finds out because I'm living on the second tier of punishment in the United States. If they even catch me, all I'll get is a slap on the wrist and no pizza for a week, and I can't go to the movies for 2 weeks. Serious punishment here. The crime and the punishment do not match. No one in all this $130 billion worth of theft, graft, embezzlement, you name it, is going to go to jail. Mark my words. If anyone was going to go to jail, we would have already had subpoenas flying left and right. Not only flying, they haven't even left the nest. And they're probably not going to. I don't know how it works in politics, but I am a 25-year retired Army commander, and I know that you don't get a damn thing in the Army unless you sign for it. If you get a new tank, you're going to sign for that tank. And when you change commands, that tank and everything that's in it, on it, and attached to it will be inventoried and turned over to the new commander, and if there's something missing, it's going to come out of your paycheck. If you're supposed to have 150 protective vests, and you got 149, and that protective vest is $1,000, $1,000 had better prop up somewhere, or either you're going to pay for that vest. But somehow or another, I can get 150 or 160 million dollars, and they can't trace the paperwork trail. They can't find out who signed for that money. If I decide to give $30 million to find out why Chinese hookers drink too much, are you telling me that they can't follow the paperwork trail and the money trail back to me? Whenever I get rid of that money, I've got to sign a release for it, and then whoever gets that money has got to sign a receipt for it. It's a real simple 1-2 process. And everybody that first fiduciary gets money for has to sign for it to give it to the second party and the third party, and they all have to sign for getting it. Now, if you rent a stadium to party in, you got to write a check for that $100,000 or however much it costs. And then if you want entertainment, you've got to write a check for $50,000 to somebody to go boogie, oogie, oogie, and sing. Yesterday, all my troubles seem so far. That kind of thing. Okay? But they claim they can't trace the money. They can't find out where the money went, but they can't tell you where the money went after they got it. In fact, some of them are saying they didn't even know how much money they had to start with. How the hell did you get to be the head of a division that runs on $1 billion a year, and you've lost $200 or $300 million? Now, I can understand coming up short in my checking account by maybe $20 or $30, maybe even $100, but a few $100 million? And then my bank says, well, I don't know, you wrote checks for $200 million, but you only had $100 million in the bank, ergo $100 million bounced, and we're going to charge you another $150,000 for a bounced check fund. Hey, the bank can find me, brother. All I got to do is run that computer, see where I wrote those checks, and every one of my creditors is going to say, you know what, they returned your check, we're going to charge you $50 for that check, and then we're going to charge you more because you ran a bad check, and then you're going to have to pay the back pay for what you missed by writing the bad check. Hey, they'll do it to me, they'll do it to you. I don't understand why we can't find the money in the Congress or the Senate. Remember old Clara Peller used to lay down or get pinched on her ankle when she would say, "Where's the beef?" Well, I want to know, where's the money? Like that kid in the movie said, "Show me the money." I want to know, where did all that money go? That's more money than me and you and 100 people will make in our entire lifetimes. I just want to know, where is my tax money? Now we know, as I reported in my podcast, we know where $2.78 trillion went out of Social Security. That's our tax money also. Oh, well, they just gave that away. And then they gave away another $2.38 trillion to find out why Chinese hookers drank so much and to pay for sex education for Ethiopian hookers. Okay, not even American. We don't like American hookers for some reason, but we like Oriental hookers, you know. $170,000 to find out why or how. This is very important, much different than how. How an ant gets that grain of sand from the bottom of the mound to the top of the mound. I have laid awake at night and thought about that. And I don't understand how in the world it was done. Maybe he used an elevator. Otis built an elevator shaft right there, in his little anthole, and he would just rent it on up there. And, or, I don't know, maybe he rented U-Haul to come and, I'm getting off subject here. It's getting ridiculous. But not as ridiculous as the federal government. Teach someone how to read to your children while mom does the laundry at the laundromat. $170,000. When you went to a public place, how did your mom and dad control you? Were they paid? Did someone promise them something if you were a good little boy or a good little girl? No. My mom and dad said, we're getting ready to go into a public store. If you show out, we'll knock you out. And then when you come to, we'll beat your ass. And you'll remember the next time you're in a public place. I was in Walmart the other day, and this child was screaming at the top of its lungs for everything in the store. Everything. And I heard the mother say, if you don't be quiet, you're going to get a timeout. And I said, ma'am, that child does not need a timeout. That child needs a knockout. She got very angry with me because she thought that her way of parenting was much better. And she and that child, who was butt ugly, went screaming down the next aisle. I think my parents would have left my ass at the department store and drove home and let me walk home and take my chances, but be kidnapped before they would have said, I'm going to give you a timeout. Yeah, I remember my father's timeouts. Holy crap. Anyhow, we're off the subject here. I wish that somebody in the comments on my podcast would leave a suggestion as to why the Democrats have decided to support everything that is illegal, immoral, or fattening against what President Trump is trying to do in ridding our country of illegal aliens who already have records of raping, pillaging, looting, killing, whatever. And just tell me why. Make a suggestion as to why the Democrat Party would go so far to the left till they come to that sign that says edge of the world, 300 yards. Because I can't figure it out. You know, like this. This is one of my new blue T-shirts. These are $5 at Walmart. These are George T-shirts. They're very nice, very comfortable. Shows off my manly physique. That was done a long time ago. It's not that just that our country is in turmoil. Our country is, well, not necessarily the right, us, but the left has gone crazy. I don't mean just bizarre. I mean batshit crazy. They have. They have literally gone off the deep end. And everyone seems to be pulling in a different direction. It's like nobody is at the helm of the ship. Nobody's trying to guide it anywhere. It's just floating down the river like Tom Sawyer's raft. You know, it's approaching the rapids and everybody's saying, this is stupid, pull over to the side. No, we're going to ride this bad boy out. I don't know. But it bothers me. It scares me. Now, I want to ask you one more question before we close. You're elected a Republican. And therefore you must believe in the platform, the planks as they call them, of the Republican Party. And you should support the Republican agenda and ideas and support the ideals and the beliefs of the President of the United States. In this fantastic, as Trump called it, this big pretty bill or whatever he said, we got a huge, the largest in history, tax cut. We are investing a gazillion dollars into employment, get more people working, bring down unemployment, bringing jobs back to the United States by these tariffs, which is a brilliant move, by the way. This is a good bill all the way around. They're hoping and counting, listen up now, Republican votes to see if they have enough Republican votes. What Republican, besides Romney, which, hell, he's not even close to being a Republican. He ought to have D by his name instead of Democrat, dumbass. Why would a Republican vote against the Republican Party to see this happen? His constituents at home must be all Democrats that came over and voted Republican for one day. I don't know. But I just don't understand. The Democrats will take the most worthless bill in the world and they will get in lockstep and they will get that mother passed. Even though it's the worst bill in the world and screws everybody. But they'll get it passed because they'll all stick together. But we've got to beg Republicans to vote for a decent Republican bill. We had 4 Republicans vote against males being on the female sports teams. I don't know. It's like, just take off the clothing, jump out there naked and put on some Democrat clothes and be a Democrat. I don't know. We've got the one from Alaska, the one from Maine, we've got Romney from Massachusetts, and a couple of others that they can't ever count on. And you know, it's close. We got to have their votes. And Trump will lobby them, and people will go and beg them. And of course, you got to sell your soul. They're going to have some Republicans who go and say, look, you got a worthless bill coming up. If you'll vote for this one, I'll vote for your worthless bill. It's the trade-off. If you know what's going on, leave me a comment. If you know what's going on, help me out here. Jim Voss, high above my garage, 8 or 10 feet. With I still need someone to help me set up my radio station. because that is far above my pay grade. I am just not techno savvy in doing that. I need your help. So if you will, I will gladly pay you to help me set up the radio station here above my garage. Jim Voss, one more time, just my opinion. Love all my vets, love my first responders, all my cops, and especially the blonde in the third row, the arthritis. Take care. We'll see you later and tell you the truth one more time.